Course 2, Lesson 16. Today we're going to be talking about the U.S. customary system, and by customary system we're talking about units like um, pounds and quarts and ounces and a few other things that we're going to be talking about. And then function tables is something that we've seen before, but we're just going to review a couple things there. But we're going to use some function tables to kind of help us transfer in between these different units. Okay, so we're going to start on page 107, and we're going to just look at a couple of boxes here. Okay, let's start with weight. Weight is there's basically two things that we need to know here. There are 16 ounces in one lbs pound. Okay, 16 ounces in 1 pound, and then there are 2,000 pounds in 1 ton. Okay, so if I say you weigh a ton, literally I'm saying you weigh 2,000 pounds. All right, so there's a couple of examples there. So the example problem says suppose a pickup truck can carry a load of half a ton. Well, 1 ton is 2,000. And what's a half a ton? Well, we multiply that by 1/2, or we say 2,000 divided by 2. That would equal 1,000 pounds. Now, that's a really bad pickup truck, and I would not recommend buying this pickup truck, because if you're only carrying 1,000 pounds, think about this: a couple passengers in there, and you've already almost exceeded, or a family in there, you've almost exceeded the payload of it. So yeah, don't buy that pickup truck. Anyway, fun problem. All right, let's go to length. Length is probably one we use the most. All right, so we know that there's 12 inches, and that is equal to 1 foot. And I'm on page 108, by the way, top of the page. Okay, we know that 3 feet is equal to 1 yard. And then here's one that we don't use very often: 1,760 yards, and that is equal to 1 mile. This one right here is a little obscure. Okay, and then of course we have 5,280 feet also in 1 mile. Okay, so this one's just, you're going to have to memorize this number right here. Okay, 1760 is 1,760 yards in 1 mile. All right, so the question they ask here is 1 yard is equal to about how many inches? Well, we know that 1 yard is 3 feet, and then every foot is 12 inches, so we're going to have to say 12 times 3, so we're going to say 36 inches. So be careful how they ask. Notice they said a yard is equal to how many inches, not a yard to feet. So you got to kind of pay attention to those kinds of questions. Okay. All right. Let's go to the next section. Okay. At the bottom of page 108, you see a gallon of milk, a half gallon of milk, a quart of milk, a pint of milk, and then a cup. And on the top of page 109, we get our U.S. measure. Okay, so if we have 8 ounces, and I do OZ for ounces, that is equal to 1 cup. Okay, so if we have 2 cups, that is equal to 1 pint. And you can see it's kind of going from backwards, forwards to gallon, right? From cup to gallon. And if we have 2 pints, there are 2 pints in 1 quart. And then there are 4 quarts in 1 gallon. All right. So if we know these ideas, we can come up with anything. We can go from ounces to gallons if we really wanted to. We could go from cups to quarts, we could go pints to cups, we could go quarts to cups, quarts to ounces. It doesn't matter because if we have all of these in our system, we can do that. All right, let's go to example 4. And it says Steve drinks at least 8 cups of water every day. So here we are talking about 8 cups. Well, we could find out how many ounces and just multiply ounces by 8 and come up with ounces, but that's not what he asks. We ask how many quarts. Well, we know that there are 4 or 8 cups that he's drank. So 2 cups is a pint. So if 8 cups is 4 pints, which is equal to a quart, that means we have to have at least, he's taking in at least 2 quarts per day. Okay? So 4 cups is equal to 1 quart. So if he has 8, that has to equal 2 quarts. Okay? So it's just using these types of charts to figure out the measures. Okay? You know what's next. Okay? Here's the really bad thermometer. Okay? 212 degrees, we know that as boiling. And we know 32 degrees as freezing. The distance between these two is 180 degrees. If you do 212 minus 32, you come up with 180 degrees. All right. So there are a couple of things to note. They note that room temperature, I'm going to do this in blue, room temperature is 68 degrees. In other words, that's probably the most comfortable humans are in a room. Okay? And again, not too much to learn here. You guys know all those things, but regardless. All right. The second part of the lesson deals with function tables. So if you look at page 110, I'm just going to do one of these and show you. It says this table shows the weight of ounces to a given weight in pounds. And so it says 1 pound equals 16 ounces, 2 pound 32, 3 48, 4 64, and 5 80. So what are we multiplying each one by? Well, it's going to be 16 because the first one, 1 times 16 is 16, 2 times 16 is 32, 3 times 16, 48, and so on. So you see kind of the input and what it means to the output, right? So couple of easy problems here. There's not much to do math as far as math is concerned. But if you look at problem 7, it says Hannah bought 4 yards of fabric to make a costume for a school play. Make a function table that shows the number of feet, which is the output, for a given number of yards. Okay, so what we know in a function table, we need probably at least 3. Okay, so input is here, output is here, and they said that our output is feet, which means input is yards because you buy fabric by the yard. So 1 yard, 3 feet. Okay, what if we have 2 yards? How many feet do we have? Well, 2 times 3 is 6. What if we have 3 feet, or 3 yards? 3 times 3 is 9. This is our function table. Now, why is this useful? Well, if you're doing something to scale, like if you need 5 costumes and you know that every costume is going to cost you basically a yard, that means we can figure out how many feet we need, right? So we need 15 feet cubed of yards, right? Or 15 feet cubed of material, or 5 yards. So we can navigate through each of these by filling in our input, knowing our output, and then filling out the rest of this chart. And you'll see a couple of these problems. Number 3 is your function table. And I like this one because they're putting eggs in cartons, which means they have chickens. And I have these as well. So anyway, I think you'll enjoy it. That's your lesson today. Enjoy it.